the number one thing is emotional intelligence, all right? And you lose your emotional intelligence whenever you're faced with something that you really want. Whenever you're faced with something that promises to fulfill your dreams and fantasies. What tends to happen is that you stop thinking short term, the scope of your vision narrows, and you start projecting. You become impatient and you become more reactive. And you could be an emotionally intelligent person, but under that circumstance, you lose that emotional intelligence. You become more reactive. You become more emotional. Your personality completely changes. Everything about your face changes because your emotional state affect the little muscles in your face, like your emotional mood. You know when you feel like a little subtleness of anger or subtleness of anxiety, it may not be noticeable, but the little facial muscles react to that slow simmering mood. Now, when the emotions become too intense, the bigger muscles become more activated, and you can see it more obviously, to the point where all of a sudden the bigger muscles become more active. In other words, moods affect the little things here, the little muscles here, the little muscles here, the little muscles here. And the more intense the mood, the bigger muscles get infected by it, right? And so it'll show in your bigger muscles like this, like you become more like, when maybe you were like this, and now you're a little anxious, you're like, maybe you might be blinking more. But the higher the anxiety, the bigger muscles start to become more activated. Bigger muscles, bigger muscles, bigger muscles, bigger muscles. Like, you see what I'm saying? So we want to watch out for the subtle changes because that's what really penetrates the mind. The subtle, like the subtle communication of anxiety. So whenever you're facing somebody, you're in the face of somebody that you want a lot, or somebody that fulfills your fantasies, you lose your emotional intelligence. And so that usually will manifest itself with lack of self-awareness. In other words, you don't know how high your pitch is. You don't know how quick you're responding. In other words, you don't know how desperate you come across. For example, people who are corrupt, people who are evil, they lack self-awareness that they don't notice how evil they are compared to other people. Like, they're so divorced from reality, right? Another thing that happens when you lose your emotional intelligence is that you lose your ability to control your emotions. You lose your ability to empathize, to be able to sense what other people think of you. So with that, you're not able to get that feedback and fix your mistake. You lose your ability to socialize correctly. You lose your motivation to try to fix things. You lose your ability to have conflict resolution, and conflict resolution is highly important. This is why. In life, conflict is everywhere. And in my experience, women find me most attractive when I show them my conflict resolution skills. When I tell her, look, man, Quintisha, look, I like you and I want you. No, I like you, but you've been acting a little, distant lately. Is there something you want to talk about? Or even when I tell her, hey, look, man, lately you've been distant. I don't like the way you've been, so busy all of a sudden. Like, I want to see you, but if this is how things are going to be, I prefer to walk away. Do you want to work this out? Let's have a conversation. And those conversations, and guys might listen to me and say, oh, that's so fucking lame. What do you mean conversations? How do I get her to like me? Motherfucker, listen up, bro. These types of conversations create an awkwardness. It creates an awkwardness between you and the girl, right? And these conversations, when you and this is how it goes. It has like a shit. You're talking, and then you tell them you got to talk. You talk it out. It's uncomfortable. You find the solution, and then you finally resolve it. And all of a sudden, you get the oxytocin hit. There's like an oxytocin hit that creates a deeper bond. Conflict resolution creates more attraction in men and women. And the reason why is because the reconciliation, it's like makeup sex, right? The sex becomes better, the spending time together becomes better, and the woman just becomes more attracted to you. Like, in my experience, they become more attractive. And so that even happens with guys. Women have done that to me, and I've seen the effect. But if you have no emotional intelligence, you're not going to be able to have these types of conflict resolutions because you might end up throwing a chancla at her, right? Not at her. Holy shit! Not at her. Oh God, not at him, right? Right? Like, you might it's like conflict resolution. You can't create this effect that increases attraction without having emotional intelligence, because your confrontations will create like too much chaos. And this is like, this happens with some people. Like, you can't have an argument with them. You can't talk about the problems you have with each other because they just scream. They scream and they ruin the whole conversation. And they choose to do that because they prefer chaos over resolution. Oh my fucking God, Father Alex is reliving the moment. Yeah, exactly. I've dealt with people like that who rather than talk, they scream and they're like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. Why are you talking to me? I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to resolve this issue that we have. You know what? Get out. I've done that too. I'm like, get the fuck out. I'm not get the fuck out. Before I say get out, I start recording the audio with my phone. I'm like, hey, you know what? Crazy white girl, get the fuck out. She's like, what? What do you mean get the fuck out? I said, get the fuck out, man. You're so disrespectful. Get out. I want you out. I want you to leave. And I've done that. Why? Because I notice, okay, this person cannot have a conversation without screaming. I can't respect you. I can't respect you. Because you could be an extremely intelligent person, but if you have low emotional intelligence, your relationships are going to be shit. You're always going to be causing problems. You're always going to be causing misunderstandings because I don't need you to be, in general, right? I don't need you to be that intelligent. I just need you to be emotionally on point. I need you to know yourself. I need you to be able to sense other people's reaction to you. And I need you to be able to adapt to their reaction. For example, you know that thing when I say about, don't bang the whole football team? Do you guys ever wonder where that comes from? Okay, let me tell you where that comes from. I was dating this one beautiful Colombian girl in New York City. And we were dating for 2 months. Everything was perfect, people. Jesus Christ. I'm like, man, I'm like, she hasn't drugged me yet. This is perfect, man. So a month, 2 months in, right before I was honestly gonna ask her to be in a relationship, she was like, I need to confess something to you. And I'm like, okay, I don't like where this is going. Confessions? Like this is not good. And then she was like, look, man, I'll be honest with you, when I was younger, I got around a lot. And one of the things that I did when I was younger is I pretty much banged half of the football team. Not the whole football team, you know what I'm saying? Well, half is not the whole football team. And she was telling me the whole thing. And then she's describing to the situation. And I'm looking at her like, and she's like, are you good, Alexis? And I'm like, let's slow this down a little bit, man. This is a little bit too much for me. She was like, what do you mean? Are you mad at that? I'm like, what do you mean am I mad at that? What shocked me was the fact that she couldn't understand that that you don't want to tell that to people. You don't tell everything to everyone. I'm not a judgmental person. But if you're telling me that 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you banged the whole football team, what do you expect? And so this girl, she told me how sometimes with her exes, she would try to make friends with her exes. In other words, she would try to make friends with both exes. And she was shocked that they would fight together and that it would ruin the relationship. And as I'm listening to all of this, I'm asking myself, I'm like, does she not know how guys are? Does she not know that guys fight over that type of stuff? That's what I talk about, lack of emotional intelligence. When you develop emotional intelligence, what will happen is that your energy just feels more relaxed. Like me, especially me. Like I'll say this about what is the camera quality incredible? I don't know why. Especially me, as the years gone by, I think I've grown emotionally, right? I really do think. And one of the things that I've noticed, it just made me more calm. Like, and this is something I could not fake. I can't fake this because I still have that like about me. You know what I'm saying? Like I still have that spiky like burst of energy, but it's just more simmering, right? And if you're a woman, this comes across as feminine. If you're a man, it comes across as masculine. Why? Because you're relaxing your traits. Whenever your traits are relaxed and you express them, it expresses the full ranges of who you are. In other words, it'll show your masculinity and your femininity. And this is attractive to the opposite sex because evolutionarily, emotional intelligence is attractive. I am not talking about being dumbass who's always forgiving people. No. Who's always letting people take advantage of you. Or the Ivan Dito, I feel so bad, I want to forgive him. No, that's not emotionally intelligent. That's emotionally dumb. Emotionally intelligence doesn't mean you got to be cutthroat, but also doesn't mean you got to be forgiving everybody. Because then that just shows you how dumb you are if you keep falling for it. For example, Goku. Goku has no emotional intelligence. Zero emotional intelligence. Why? Because he forgave Frieza. Even though Frieza killed all his family members, he forgave him at the last moment. And at the last moment, what did Frieza do? Smart as he is, try to use that moment to attack Goku. And then Goku killed. Now look, the Bible says this. And this is like a really good quote that I want you guys to understand. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Anybody who does this, just become slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to become angry, is respected by everyone. Everyone respect that. Because nobody likes people who talk too much. Especially when you like someone, like I said, your mouth moves a little bit more. Why? Because you are insecure, and that's normal. But what tends to happen is that you feel insecure, so you want to get their validation. And usually the way we want to get their validation is through our words, trying to impress. Why? Because naturally words is the fastest way to change people's state. Words are the easiest way to deceive, to give a message. But what tends to happen is that too many words betray us. It shows your lack of control. And that includes even texting. It shows that you don't know how to control yourself. And talking also means revealing your intentions too much. Telling people how you feel too fast and too soon without having them to work for it. Then the quick to listen, which means that you pay attention to people. You're not just listening. You're not just trying to speak. You're trying to understand who they are. You're trying to understand their point of view. You're not trying to convince them. You're trying to understand them. And then the slow to become angry is pretty big. The slow to become angry shows people that you have self-control. It shows people your power and strength, plain and simple. And one of the traits about me that I really am proud of is that I am very slow to anger. And even when I get angry, my anger comes up and then it quickly goes down. I have that good trait about me, right? And it says, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Another quote is, another part that people respect is that patience. The Bible says this, right? Better a patient person than a warrior. A warrior that's not patient is a dumbass warrior who's eventually going to get killed by his king or by someone greater than them. One with self-control, then one who takes a city. In other words, you could be someone who could take a city, but because you have no self-control, you're not aware of the unintended consequences of fighting and picking battles without thinking of the long-term ramification. Where you pick fights with everyone, where you can't see past your noses, you're trying to convince everyone, you're trying to argue with people. And that is anti-seductive. That pushes people away. Patience is the key. In other words, rather than speeding up the relationship, you take it slow. Rather than responding so fast because they're making you agitated, you slow it down. Rather than letting them get you impatient, rather than having them trying to get you to make a quick decision, like telling them saying, I want a relationship this week, that type of shit, you tell them to slow the fuck down. Anytime somebody tries to speed up their relationship, even if you want it, slow it down. It always brings you power, and it makes people respect you more as a result of it. Another example is in the Bible says, in your anger, do not sin. In other words, when somebody's trying to make you feel angry, when somebody's even trying to make you feel needy, don't act. How do you not act out of anger? You just do nothing. You just lay down and meditate and breathe. Bring your attention to a repetitive action. It'll slow down your sympathetic nervous system and you'll be more relaxed. Too many people act out of anger, out of frustration, out of neediness, and out of impatience. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. In other words, it's always best that if somebody's creating needy emotion, somebody's triggering you, the best way to do it is before you go to sleep, have a little meditation practice. Meditate, read the Bible, pray, something religious or something spiritual. How you finish your night has a huge effect on you the next morning. So do not go to sleep feeling needy. Do not go to sleep feeling angry. Do not go to sleep feeling desperate. Find a way to calm your mind down in a natural way. Not with drugs, but in a natural way. The worst thing you could do is sleep in an agitated state. Do not become anxious about anything, says the Bible, right? But in every situation, by prayer and meditation, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and mind, right? So how do you do this? Well, look what it says, right? In every situation, by prayer and petition. Now look, with thanksgiving, you don't have to be religious to do this, honestly. But there's something called loving kindness meditation, where you actually pray for people to have a blessing. And what studies show is that when you do this, any negative emotion goes away. And then with thanksgiving, especially if you do it with gratitude, negative emotions go away. So if you're anxious, if you're needy, the best thing to do is to do a loving kindness meditation. How do you do that? You close your eyes and you imagine a person who's making you needy, right? And then you imagine yourself feeling needy, and go in your mind and say to yourself and the other person one by one, may you be well. May you be at peace, and may you find happiness. Keep repeating it until you actually feel the desire for them to be happy and to be at peace. Well, you know what tends to happen? The needy emotion that you felt goes away. Because a part of the reason why you feel needy is because a part of you feels resentful for them fucking with you that way. A part of you feels resentful for them making you feel that way. And so this anger, this frustration becomes released whenever you either pray or you wish them well in that type of meditation. Just Google metta meditation. That'll teach you how to do that. Or you could do meditation. But in all honesty, if somebody's playing you and you feel resentful, this meditation will release those negative emotions. Because if you don't release those negative emotions, what will happen is that your brain will still chase, because it's trying to find a way to relieve those emotions. And even though a part of you might resent them playing you, their validation will cause you to forget the bullshit that they did to you, suppress those emotions, and you're gonna have to deal with that same monster, but bigger, the next time it comes up. Now, Sun Tzu has a few things to say about that. He emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and understanding one's strengths and weaknesses. By knowing yourself and others, you can better navigate social dynamic and adapt to your approach to earn respect. So you got to know yourself. You got to know the guys and girls that make you needed. You got to know how you can regulate your emotions. Knowing yourself is not just knowing 1 + 1. Knowing yourself is knowing how to calm your emotional state to a simmering point. Once you know yourself from that type of mindset, it can liberate you from your mind. So self-awareness and meditation develops that self-awareness. Understanding and learning from your mistakes, learning what causes you to be needy, learning what you've done in the past to create needy situations will liberate you from that. Just knowing it. Self-awareness is one of the few things that is an end in and of itself. Another way is to lead by example. If you want to get respect yourself first. Don't let people deal with bullshit. Don't let people give you bullshit. Don't let people lie to you. Don't let people waste your time. No. If you don't let people do that, if you respect yourself, don't let people touch you. Don't let people hit you. Don't let people call your name. Don't let people waste your time. That's self-respect. Once you do that, then people will give it to you. You have to expect more from yourself than others. Once you expect more from yourself, all of a sudden everyone will start falling into place. And the last thing is adaptability. You got to be able to adapt in every situation, not fighting the last war. Always treating people individually as they are, not seeing them and imagining that's your ex. Not projecting your emotions from the past into the future, into the present. It makes people resentful. It makes you not be able to see who they really are. And it crumbles any relationship you could have had with them. People respect you whenever they sense that you truly understand them. And one of the parts of being adaptable is understanding that just because you know one thing about one person doesn't mean it translates to somebody else. You have to start all over again and listen to the person. So that means that if somebody played you, that don't mean the next person will play you. If somebody tells you, if somebody treats you right, that don't mean the next person is going to treat you right. You should always go into every person that you meet with an open mind, expecting the complete opposite than you had before. Why? Because naturally the human mind wants to predict. The human mind wants to keep things the same, and so it uses a projecting mechanism to keep that kind of predictability. But the problem with that projecting mechanism is only it creates the illusion of something different, but you keep getting hit by the same monster. You see, people don't respect people who have no emotional intelligence, who have no control of their emotions, over their anger, over their impatience. People just cannot respect that. They look at you and say, why should I follow you? Why should I respect you? If you can't even listen to your own body, listen and be able to control your own body, what makes you think I should give you some power? No, man. You got to control yourself. Understand what makes you angry. Understand what makes you needy. Understand the good people for you, the bad people, your taste, the things that you like, the things that you don't like. That will bring you more respect. I promise you. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org, and I'll see you guys later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces, one is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're gonna be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man, Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you could read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you could pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel.